The environment has become...
What we're saying is have a hub.
We've got to be able to regenerate our
There'll
economy.
be people who are kind, people who are cruel, but that's life. You can be bigoted about pigeons. I'm fine with that.
The main issue arose, I think, in February last year when the government announced development plans to run an 8-lane road across Bukit Brown, which entailed removing 5,000 graves of the over 100,000 graves there. And I think this crystallized a few groups to come to action. Perhaps you can tell us really from the viewpoint, we only seem to have supporters of Save Our Bukit Brown. Not that we didn't try to get other spokespeople, but can you tell us really what is so important about Bukit Brown?
I think maybe from a kind of historical, cultural standpoint, it has not just very prominent people who are buried there, but in terms of design consideration, they have very unique graves. It's a very post-colonial type of Chinese cemeteries with a hybrid of both Western and Eastern features together. You have a Sikh guard next to a Chinese grave. You don't get that in many other places in the world. You have monuments that have intricate sculptures and detailed carvings that have a very strong, original, unique aesthetic value in itself. That similar graves like this in Japan have been awarded UNESCO heritage sites. Other than that, I think it's also very important to note that in the present context where most cemeteries are being cleared in Singapore, this is one of the last few remaining cemeteries that are, I would not say complete, but still quite intact in spite of the developments of in the recent decades.
But it does occupy a very large footprint,
Yeah.
and that may stand in the way of development. I think it occupies 233
Yeah.
hectares, and that's a lot, and it's in the middle of Singapore, plump in the middle of Singapore. So there probably has to be a balance between needs of development and heritage.
I think I'll leave it to Hua Chiu to talk about the natural ecology of the Bukit Brown itself.
Okay, for Nature Society, for us, Bukit Brown covers the main Bukit Brown, bordered by Lornie Road, Thompson Road, PIE, and it covers the other area down at the Ondrate Road, nearer to the Police Academy. So roughly, I think the whole area, about, as you say, 200 over hectares.
I thought the 233 just applied to Bukit Brown itself.
It covers Ondrate Road areas.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, our society has been in touch with Bukit Brown since the 90s. We have put it into our master plan when we formulated it in 1990 in the master plan for the conservation of nature in Singapore.
You identified that as an important...
It's important since 1990. Okay. And of course, we realized that it is more important now over the decades because more wildlife seems to have moved into the area, especially the bird life. And we conducted, a lot of nature walks into the area for our members as well as for the public. And while we conduct our walk, we also monitor, especially the bird life in the area. So now we realize that it's pretty important, and we will put it as a 4-star site out of 5.
And what would be for 5-star sites in Singapore?
5-star, your Bukit Timah Central Catchment area. Okay. So it's like a 4-star site now, because they have about total number of species of bird life. All right, it's about 94 species, and out of these, 15 are in the Red Data Book, Singapore Red Data Book, threatened species in Singapore. And out of these also, 4 species are in the IUCN threatened list, red list.
Okay, when you talk of the threatened list, are you talking about the threat to this species in the region or the threat to Singapore?
I'm talking about 15 species. They are threatened in Singapore itself, nationally.
So you do have these species of birds like the robin-back magpie and other birds?
Yeah, they are listed in the Singapore Red Data Book.
Okay.
On the national level.
But would you find these species in, say, Indonesia, in Malaysia?
Yeah, there are such species around in Malaysia and
okay.
surrounding forests.
So can I just ask a question of conservationists? Because if you're trying to preserve the species in Singapore, which is really an urbanized country, and if you can have these species still existing in the region around, how important is it to preserve it in Singapore?
It's pretty important. You cannot put all your fruits in one basket, you see. So as far as I'm concerned, we should do our best to preserve what we have here. And out of these 94 species, 4 of them actually put into the IUCN, threatened list. International Union for the Conservation of Nature.
So this is then not Singapore alone, but
not Singapore, for
region-wide.
4 species. They are internationally, threatened.
And tell us about these 4 species.
You have red-crowned barbet, right? Chestnut-Bellied Malkoha, the grey-headed fish eagle, and the Straw-Headed Bulbul.
And are they migratory birds or are they endemic
These
to
are not
Singapore?
migratory. These are local birds. I mean, they are tropical forest birds. So what we see is that Bukit Brown is an important important territory, extra foraging range for forest species, especially for Singapore forest birds. And our forest areas are slowly shrinking over the decades. So they are found in the central catchment in a nature reserve. But the carrying capacity of the nature is limited, about 2,000 hectares, pretty small tropical forest there.
And is that a sustainable area? Because
of course it's
understand
sustainable,
that if
but
it is not large enough,
some of the populations of some of the forest species have increased, and our nature reserve may not be able to hold them, you see. So they have exceeded the carrying capacity for some species, and that is why you can see them now at Bukit Brown, because they have moved over across Lorry Road to colonize and proliferate in Bukit Brown. Forest species, that's what we are concerned about.
Okay, but can I just ask you, if a road goes through, and now they're talking of building a bridge, so that there's at least under bridge
The valley is reserved.
Yeah. Is it really going to be very harmful to the area?
This 8-lane highway is a massive thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a little footbridge
Yeah.
across in a nature reserve. This is very destructive. It goes through the most beautiful part of Bukit Brown. It goes through the most significant landmarks in Bukit Brown.
Let me say a bit more on the expressway, the impact on the wildlife. Now the expressway is going to run very close to the Lornie Road, so it is further to the northern side, right, closer to Lornie Road and closer to, of course, the migratory forest, which is part of the Central Catchment Nature Reserve. The area, of course, is is a quite massive thing. Now you have 7 lanes. 8 lane is one more lane wider, and that part of Bukit Brown, closer to Lorry, is a kind of a beachhead for forest species of birds. They move from the migratory forest. They fly over that Lornie Road and land at that part. So the 8-lane expressway is going to sort of shear off, wipe out a lot of forests along the stretch, including that beautiful valley. So if you want, forest species to sort of be viable, to survive long term, you need to sort of let them proliferate and move over, establish new areas, and establish themselves in new areas. You see. Okay. So once you destroy the beachhead, most of these forests will not be able to come over and forage. They may come for a day or two, or for the morning, and then move back. See. So forest species are like the Chestnut-Bellied Malkoha, red-crowned barbet, and some of them nest there. See. So it's important to sort of preserve that part.